Hey guys, DMS here. Today I have for you a review of the SHP 9600. Let's check it out. Alright, so before we get into this, click that little subscribe button down there. It's just one click for you and it helps out the channel a lot. And I also want to note one other thing. I have a video coming out soon. It is the HD6XX versus the Tiger 300R versus the HD560S. All three headphones that I highly recommend. That video is early access on Patreon right now, so if you want, you can check it out. It's linked in the video description. Thanks for supporting the channel. So SHP 9600. Well, if you remember my review of the SHP 9500, I didn't like it that much. But this one I do like in some ways, and I'd like to talk about that. So build-wise, it's not really that different. The build is still pretty dang cheap. It does conform in a lot of ways to the head though. So you're going to get something that's going to universally fit a lot of people. It adjusts pretty dang far up and down. It swivels, it tilts, all kinds of things. There is a suspension strap, which is nice to have. I still don't like the pad materials that they're using for the headband or the pads, but it is better than nothing. It's still a very comfortable headphone to wear for, I would say, reasonable to extended durations of time. I just wish this material was something a little bit softer, like a velour pad. Cable is detachable 3.5mm. There's really not much else to say about build here other than that it's not exceptional, but it will get the job done and it is pretty comfortable. So sound-wise, this is a low impedance dynamic headphone. It is very easy to drive. It'll benefit the most, I think, from a clean solid state amplifier, but you can plug it up to tubes if you want. Just don't expect incredible results. This is not an HD6XX, HD600 or HD650. The impedance is just too low to really benefit from tubes, but I think on a good solid state amp or even just on the audio output of your computer or phone, this headphone should do just fine. It's not particularly high enough in resolution to benefit from a high-end amplifier of any kind, but this does make it a very budget-friendly headphone. So how does this budget-friendly headphone sound? Well, it is very warm. It still lacks resolution like the SHP 9500 did, but instead of just sounding like endless amounts of grain, the treble is a little bit more recessed in some parts on this headphone, making it not sound nearly as harsh as the SHP 9500 was. In fact, this sounds like a much warmer leaning headphone. There's a bit of a scoop out somewhere in the lower treble, and then the upper treble kind of comes back up. It's just up and down a bit. Now, it's definitely not a thumping submachine. It is extended enough, but I wouldn't say that this is a bass head headphone, but it certainly is present in the low ends. It's just mostly very warm sounding. Now, this recess in the lower treble is definitely audible. It's not hollow sounding though, which is nice. It just sounds a bit quiet in that region. And as a result, I feel like we're also missing out on a little bit of detail in that region. But this is a budget headphone. It's hard to complain when they fixed my biggest complaints that the SHP 9500 had. Soundstage is pretty good. In fact, I would say that soundstage is better on this than it is on something like the HD58X. Imaging probably more so as well, though the 58X is definitely a more resolving headphone than this, and in some cases more comfortable as well. My big problem with this now is where it's priced. I think this is actually a pretty good budget headphone. In fact, I would definitely give it a recommendation, but at a slightly lower price point. I think that at $100 or under, this is a very competitive headphone. But I think that at its current price point, it gets a little bit too close to the price of 58X. And even if you are buying just one headphone, just one budget headphone, I think it's worth to save up just a hair more and go for the 58X over this at its current price point. Now, if you're watching this video and by this point this headphone is down to $100 or lower, this will be an absolute steal, assuming something else hasn't come out on the market that outdoes it. But historically speaking, the SHP 9500 has been a pretty affordable headphone, and I think this one will hit that price bracket eventually. I don't really have a lot to say on this headphone because we're not getting into crazy details. It doesn't do anything particularly special. Its party trick is that it's affordable and relatively comfortable for that price. So there really isn't that much else to say about it. It's a headphone that if you want something that's comfortable and gets the job done, this will absolutely do it. And that's how I feel about the SHP 9600. I know this is a short one. It's hard to be excited about this headphone. It is not a bad headphone. It's a good headphone for what it is. It's hard to be excited about this given things that have happened recently in a slightly higher price bracket with like the HD560S and the Tiger 300R. it makes it difficult to be excited about this headphone. But I've covered this the extent that it has my interest, and I've covered it to the extent that I'm willing to in this video. Bit anticlimactic, I know. But the next video I think you guys are gonna like a lot. Don't forget that video, the HD560S versus the HD6XX versus the Bayer Tiger 300R, is early access on my Patreon, link in the video description. That will be out as the next video after this one. So, like I said, make sure you're subscribed. You don't wanna miss that one. It's gonna be pretty dang good. But as always, if you liked this video, please leave a like down below, a comment letting me know what you wanna see in the future. If you want to get active in the community, you can at forum.hifiguides.com. And as always, don't forget to stick around and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Until the next one, guys. Peace.